One day I will get a better camera. Today is not the day. So I want to talk about, I want to tell you a story about this person that dropped out of med school, and I just want you to take heed if it resonates with you. So I'm an M1, and we're pretty much done with the first semester right now. And there was a really smart girl that I met early on, like at the beginning of the semester, and she dropped out. She dropped out like halfway through the first semester. And I just think it was a really interesting story. So during the intro to medical school, I don't know if every medical school does it the same, but they kind of ease you in with a bunch of just like team building exercise. Half of it is corny as hell to me, but it is what it is, whatever. So they really like ease you in and stuff like that. And it's just a bunch of like social events or whatever. And you're just mixing and mingling, whatever. And me personally, I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't really give a damn, but um I felt like I was the only person, honestly, who kind of felt like that. Everybody else loved the socialization aspect. Am I a weirdo? Is that just me? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so I bump into this girl because in medical school, even though it's only like it's not that many people, it's still like people you are constantly you're constantly gonna meet new people in your own class. Um, so anyway, bumping into her, we ended up like sitting next to each other at some social event, whatever. And we're talking or whatever, and like she shared my frustration. She was annoyed by all of this like socializing and stuff like that. Like she wanted to get to the meat and potatoes. She wanted to get to the real rigorous academic work. Like that's what we're here to do. We're here to become doctors. Everybody knows that medical school is difficult, and so she was ready to get into it. And I just remember walking away from that first conversation like, man, like this girl is a genius. Like she's gonna be a excellent physician. Like she was telling me, she hates all this social stuff. She's ready to get to work, and she wants to like be the best surgeon ever. And she like traveled abroad like during her school. Like she didn't even go to like regular school. Like she went to a boarding school for like middle and high school, and like graduated at the top of her class in undergrad, and like did all of this traveling, did all of this research. And she was only like 19 or 20. Like she was like very academically accomplished. I cannot stress that enough. And so yeah, so I walked away from that. Like she was like one of the only people I met who was like really serious about the academic rigor and like ready to get to work. So fast forward, we get through a few exams, and I bump into her after an exam, and I was just talking to her like about my own personal frustrations with the test. Like I thought I was gonna get a higher score than I did, and even like I'm going for the gusto. I want like above 95s on every exam. That's what I was gunning for at the time. And she was like, yeah, I hear you. Like, yeah, like a couple of those questions were tricky, so on and so forth. But she really didn't. At first, it didn't really seem like she gave off like she really shared my frustration. It kind of like gave like the vibe, like, yeah, I hear you. I can understand why that question might have tripped you up, but shit, I got 100. She didn't say that, but like that's the vibe. Like she was like, I did just fine or whatever. Um, and then so that happened, whatever. And after another exam, 2 weeks passed, we take another exam. I bump into her again after the exam, and she was just telling me, like, we were talking again about, like, oh, tricky question here, XYZ, blah, blah. And she was just like, yeah, I like stressed out so much. last night. I stayed up studying all night. I got like 2 hours of sleep, and like I even called my mom to come down and like stay with me and like help like cook for me and stuff like that, and just kind of make me settle my anxiety, X, Y, and Z. Um, because she was like, yeah, I mean, I passed, but it just I was very worried about this one, and so I was like, the only thing I thought was like, damn, you wilding, staying up all night. No matter how much I was struggling, I never pulled an all nighter. You're crazy. Anyway, after that, we was talking, and she was like, we should study sometime, and I was like, great. You feel me? I would love to get it in. I love working with people who trying to get it in. So yeah, so that happened, and med school comes at you fast. I say that to say we didn't really get a chance to like study together like that upcoming week. But like a week after that, like before our next exam, because exams are like damn near like every 2 weeks, um, she like disappeared. And eventually, like I found out through some people, or whatever, like confirmed it that she dropped out. And it just shocked me because she was a genius. Like she was very smart. I promise you, she got a better score than me on every single exam. So why did she drop out? I can only speculate because I don't know this girl for from anything. I don't know this girl from a can of paint. I only knew her superficially for like 2 months. So what do I know about this girl? But from what I was able to gather through my very superficial interactions is that she was a very type A person, and she tried so hard to make everything perfect. And I'm sort of in that field too. I like to like really strive for perfection and kind of stretch myself thin to really achieve perfection. So I dig it. But there's a healthy, mature way to go about it. And I say all that to say that I mean it's just a classic case of like she burnt herself out trying too hard. Ironically, because in medical school, you want to try hard. You should try hard. You should want to be the best student you could be in order to become the best physician you could be. Absolutely, but you have to do it in a wise manner. You have to pace yourself. Otherwise, you're gonna burn out. And aside from that, like her type A personality, what I really want to get at is that honestly, I'm a big advocate for gap years. Me personally, pretty much 30, and I took a number of gap years. I took like 5 gap years, 5, 6 gap years. I don't really recommend that many gap years, but at least 1 year, at least a full year of living a real life outside of academia, living an actual adult life with responsibilities that go far beyond uh, just getting an A or on a test, that go far beyond uh, writing the essay before midnight, that go far beyond all of these trivial academic deadlines that we have. But I'm talking about real life, budgeting, managing, finding an apartment by yourself, maintaining said apartment by yourself, keeping up with family and relationships, keeping up with your health, but also making a living for yourself, and learning something by interacting with other individuals who are not in academia, regular day to day people who could give a damn how many big words you know or what your thesis was. Just regular people, human beings. I cannot stress enough, outside of academia, real work. Like go work somewhere, get an actual job. Okay, research coordinator, I'm sorry, does not count. That's still entirely embedded in academia, and I know I know what it is. Y'all spend at least 50% of your time trying to figure out what you're gonna have for lunch. I know it. Don't tell me it's not true. I know it. So get a real job, experience real life. You have to go through these processes in order to mature at least to some degree. Staying inside academia is coddling you. It is warping your mind. And even though med school is academia, it's a part of academia that becomes I would say pretty similar to real life because that's just the nature of being an adult. There is an ungodly amount of responsibilities and pretty much like tasks that are pulling at your time, and you have to figure out how to prioritize everything. Not only that's the obvious part, you have to figure out how to prioritize everything. The less obvious part is that you're going to have to fail in some arenas, not fail entirely, but you're going to have to accept suboptimal results in some arena of your life in order to make other arenas uh super optimal. I think that's the word. Um but sacrifice, people say it like, oh, whatever you're gonna have to sacrifice. But people don't realize, like, okay, what sacrifice means is in med school, in order to pass, but also make sure that you're washing your clothes on a regular basis, to make sure that you're eating a somewhat healthy meal and not fucking around and eating Mickey D's or something, or going out to eat and spending hella money all throughout the week. One of them has to go. You know, you have to maintain exercise. You have to go to sleep. You cannot pull all nighters. That is not I cannot stress that enough. That is not an option. You do not need more hours in a day. You need to utilize what hours you have. And that's what real life is. That's just simply what real life is. It's not about in med school, at least for what I'm ascertaining, at least this first year, for sure. This first year is not about getting excellent grades. It's about functioning and balancing your responsibilities as an adult, something you cannot learn inside of academia. You have to live a regular, actual life. W-2 job or become an entrepreneur, I don't care, but you need to get outside of academia and work as a real person, preferably in a customer service job, because a lot of you med students do not know how to talk to people, and I mean a lot of doctors don't know how to talk to people. I don't mean just being rude. I just mean weird. Like you're awkward. You don't know how to talk to people. You're not used to talking to people. I'm rambling now, but to sum it up, what I'm saying is this girl was very smart. Academics is not the reason that she chose to leave medical school. If the reason that she chose was that she was overwhelmed, which it sounds like that's what it was, but it was not because she was not smart enough. Personally, I simply believe it was because she was not ready for the weight of the responsibilities and ready to sacrifice certain areas for others in a wise manner. Because she sacrificed her mental health, she sacrificed her sleep and everything for grades. But do not do that for grades. If it comes down to that, if you're actually working, you should have learned enough to at least pass. Okay, fair. You're not going to get a 99 on the test. But if you can at least pass, then you should accept a proper sleep schedule, a proper diet. You should take that over the A. I promise you. Otherwise, you're going to burn out. I guarantee you. That's stretching yourself too thin. It doesn't even matter that much. You just need to pass at the very least. That's an adult priority type thing. That's how you prioritize as an adult, realizing what is the bigger fish here. Okay, what is the actual bigger fish you're trying to fry? And you cannot get there if you are literally burning the candle at both ends. Again, it sounds easier said than done. It's so much easier said than done. And I hope she bounced back. Maybe she's just taking a year off and then she'll come back. I hope so. But honestly, I think that's what it is. And I just want to put that out as a PSA to others. You have to be an adult first. The grades honestly come second. You need to be an adult first. There's so much more I want to speak into, but I'm a proponent of gap years, working a real job, being a regular person before trying to become a doctor. I'm a huge proponent of it, and I will keep rambling about that until next time.
Aye.